Yeah.
Welcome to Mom of Eight Momversations on Win-Win Women. We are so grateful for this platform where we women can gather to care, connect, and collaborate. Truly a win-win for us all. I'm your hostess, Reagan Barnes, mom of eight and founder of Mom of Eight. We're a nonprofit organization that empowers you to elevate your mothering experience. Also joining us today is Mom of Eight's very own Atmosphere Council mom, Annette T. Durfee. And you, Mom, you are joining us. And we are so glad to have you both, Annette, and you too. We welcome you into the Mom of Eight community, or Mom Unity, as we like to say. We are moms united in our passion to create a better world for our children, with our children, and through our children. Join us and become a Mom Unity member. It's free on our website, momofeight.org. And when you join our Mom Unity, we'll send you a free digital copy of our Smile Journal, where you can keep track of what you learn from each of these Momversations and set goals that will impact your personal achievement based on this educational program. So let's get this Momversation started. Here at Mom of Eight, we answer the question, what do moms do? With this uplifting statement, moms raise up society. That's right, not just our own kids, but all of society, including ourselves. This acronym is jam-packed with the far-reaching impact of intentional mothers who strive to improve and progress in these areas of motherhood. We're not just chauffeurs and short-order cooks as we repeatedly do bedtime routine and load after load of laundry. It makes an impact that goes beyond our homes because as moms, we are uniquely positioned to influence society one-on-one as we take on the repetitive, loving work that shapes our children, and it shapes us too. Today, with our special guest, Annette, we're going to focus on the atmosphere category of our acronym and get even more specific and dig into the subcategory that ties together all the others. Generally, we've been exploring how a mother influences her family by conscientiously constructing an atmosphere at home. We've been looking at how this happens through the lens of the five senses, what we can arrange or adjust in terms of what our families see, smell, hear, taste, and touch inside our homes. Today, we're looking at the overall feel, the intangible kind of sixth sense of ambiance and that general sensation of what our families and visitors to our home experience inside our homes. It's difficult to describe, but it's crucial to be aware of and conscientious about. Annette, this is so fun to have you as our guest today. Thank you for taking time. You're there in New York. Mom of Eight, so blessed to have you on our team as our Atmosphere Council mom. And now our viewers will be blessed with your maternal wisdom. So thanks again. Tell us a little bit about your mothering. And I know you're a grandmother too. And,
Yes, I
and
am.
we'll
Thank
dive
you,
in
Reagan.
after that. As a little biography.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and met and married my husband there. We had two children before we moved to Illinois and lived there for 6 years and added two more to our family. My husband was going to school and then he got a job in Oregon. So we lived there for 15 years, had another baby and raised them there for those 15 years. And then we moved now. We're in upstate New York. Everybody's moved out of the house.
You're an empty nester.
So yes, we are. And we added three children to the family by way of marriage, which we're so grateful for each of them as well. And of course, we love our little 3 grandchildren. They're perfect.
Are they local? Do you get to visit a lot?
They are not local. They're all in Utah, but we are visiting in about a week. And so I'm really looking forward to that.
Wonderful. Well, I think that with that, knowing that you have that background of raising kids, even moving households across to different states and things, we can take you as an expert in how to create that atmosphere for our homes. So we'll just dig right in and start out just kind of with a general question of how do we create an overall feeling of love and warmth in our homes?
Well, that's a really good question because we know love when we feel it, but because it is intangible, it might be a struggle to try to figure out exactly how to create it. I've been really blessed in my life through the different places that we've moved. We've had wonderful friends and family that have been fabulous homemakers. And so I've been thinking of things that I've learned from each of them and things that I've tried in my own life. And I tried to categorize these into 4 parts. And that's mainly, just like a little puzzle. There's a mental side, a physical side, emotional side, and a spiritual side. And so to make it kind of easy to remember, I thought they all start with a P. So the 4 P's for creating are an overall feeling of love and warmth in our homes would be to plan, that's the mental, to create a pleasing physical environment, to prioritize our time, that's the emotional side, and then preparing spiritually. So I'm hoping that we can cover those things today.
Oh, yeah, I love that. And I think it's very interesting that the emotional, as you wanted to come up with a P to cover emotional, you thought of prioritizing time, because that is really a crucial part of our emotional connection with our family, is choosing to spend time with them. So that's a really neat, just an automatic thought that comes to mind as you explained the 4 P's there.
Definitely.
So I'm trying to kind of review it in my head. We had the planning, and then the physical, right? Physical space, and prioritizing time. And then what was the last one? Sorry.
Preparing spiritually.
Oh, okay. Very good. Yes, I think that these will be a good way to construct our conversation today. So do you want to start with the first one about planning?
Sure, let's do that. So when I think of planning, I think of as homemakers, it's kind of like we're an artist. We have this little palette in our hand, and we have all these different colors that we get to choose from. And so we want to create this beautiful mural, not in real paint, of course, although that's fun. We're not talking interior decorating here, right? We're talking the feeling again, but we get to decide. And so we have to kind of come up with some introspective questions that can help us look at the feel that's already there. So we might say, well, how do I feel in our home? How do others feel in our home? How does our family feel here? Is it a place that we want to be? And if it isn't, then what can I do to adjust a little bit? What things need tweaking? What things, can we do for that? And is our home a safe place? Is it a home where people feel criticized a lot? We could look at our leadership and we could say, do I lead with love, or am I forcing? That creates a different feeling in the home if it's just my way or the highway.
Right.
Or if it's like we're all in this together and we're disciplining with love. So that's kind of the idea that I was thinking of with the mental side, the planning side. So we kind of
I like that. I like I'm an analogy person myself. I really like metaphors. And so hearing you put it into that metaphor of there's a palette and we're choosing the colors,
right.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's I think an equally important part that we need to decide is, what values do I want to have in my home? Like, for example, love and respect and compassion. Do I want that in my home? That then there needs to be a plan for that, which we can add to that later. Or forgiveness. Do we want to be holding grudges and having hard feelings, or do we want to be able to take a step back and let it go? Because we all know in families there's things that come up, right? Nobody's
Yeah,
perfect.
my husband says when you live close together, then there's going to be friction. And so, and then he goes on with that again analogy. He says if there's going to be friction, then sometimes there's going to be sparks. And what are we doing? Are we trying to kind of cool the sparks down, or are we putting fuel on that flame and turning it into a fire?
Exactly. Yep. That's right. And so, just deciding more things, peace. Do we want it to be peaceful, loving, joyful? Like, do we want our atmosphere to be fun? I think that can even be a value. I've always liked it myself. So,
yeah. And sometimes that's a key word that kids can buy into also. Kids might not be all that excited about forgiveness. Right. But if you can package it up maybe in a way that they realize it's actually more fun once you have let those grudges go, then, that forgiveness can be, or rather lack of forgiveness can be like an obstacle in your way of having fun together, because you're all sitting around growling at each other instead. And so I think that can be a selling point, right? If we help them realize that it's more fun once you've forgiven each other.
That's right. And we get a lot of opportunities to practice. Right?
Yes. Yes, I heard a home described once as a laboratory of love. And I brought that up with my kids and I said, now in a laboratory, there's a lot of experimentation going on. And the job of the scientist is to observe and make, conclusions based on what happens when they watch these, interactions and what's going to be the healthiest interactions and things like that. And I said, so yeah, sometimes our experiments will go sour, and our goal is to learn from that and not let it keep happening, right? Like the scientist who discovers a certain problem with two chemicals isn't going to keep making that problem happen over and over. They're going to learn from that and move forward. And you find ways that lead to solutions instead of just problems.
Yes, definitely.
So do you have just like some simple things that we can do that engage our senses and create like a soothing, beautiful living space?
Yes. So I think of this kind of goes along with our physical, creating the pleasing physical environment, and thinking of those five senses. I kind of combine them with our attitudes. So let's say we start with see, what do we see in our homes? Hopefully, we see that it's clean. Or reasonably clean, right? Like nobody has a perfectly clean home. We see that it's clutter-free, organized. That's the ideal. I know in our home, we could have easily posted a sign that I saw one day that said, "The house was clean yesterday. We're sorry if you missed it."
Yeah.
Right? And it seems like when I'm cleaning one room, there's 2 other or 3 other rooms that are not getting cleaned. So It's just this constant cycle. And I think that's kind of like, we have this reasonable expectation, like it's not going to be perfect, but we're not going to give up. We're going to keep
Exactly.
Right?
Let's not give up. Let's keep up the battle. I heard one mom describe it as breathing. Like when you breathe in, you've also got to learn to breathe back out. And I liked the word you used. It's a cycle. So things do get messy, but being able to clean up the mess is part of the deal.
Yes. And along with things that we see in a home, we could really bring up what media are we allowing in our home. There's a wide variety, and some of it's really great and some of it's really trash.
Yeah.
That could come in easily. And so if we're choosy, what are we bringing in that aligns with our values and the standards that we have? Maybe this is for our family, this is how we do it, and somebody else is doing their own thing, but we make those decisions, and what things feel uplifting. I mean, there really is truly a different feeling in a home that just allows kind of whatever, and a home where they're a little more choosy, and it's like, no, we're going to turn that off, or we're going to change the channel because we're not feeling that positive, loving feeling inside. So
yeah, some things contribute to that vibe, and some things take away from it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we could look at smell now. That's a fun one. We always have different smells in a home, and when space feels fresh and it's inviting, then we want to stay, right? Yeah. I mean,
this is a great time of year. I love to open the windows. Once it gets nice and warm like this, I just think, we need to refresh things by getting some fresh air.
That's right. So if we're going to have a really good atmosphere in our home, let's air it out. Let's eliminate the odors, because they happen. I mean, we're people. We have trash. Right. We have dirty socks. So try to keep the laundry going, prevent what odors you can. And that's probably a lot with that cleaning schedule, just having that on a regular basis to eliminate some of those odors. Because it makes a difference. Homes without that kind of feel a little bit lonely, a little bit sad, kind of, you might even feel fatigued. So that's what I'd say about smells. Tastes, I love that's one of the things we can do. I mean, who doesn't love a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner, right? But it can be simple too, the simple, nutritious things that we cook for our families. My mom was really good at this. She always made delicious warm rolls and wonderful casseroles and soups, and just to have this environment where it just kind of draws you into the kitchen and says, come on, I've got this special thing that I made just for you, and you're going to enjoy it so much.
Now, didn't there used to be an old saying about the way to a man's heart is through his stomach? I think that might still be the case, not just for our husbands, but for our kids, right? If we can figure out a way to help them enjoy meals together, I think that can be a loving way, right, to get to their hearts.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, and I can make cookies all day. The house smells great and the kids love to eat them. And then I can run up the stairs and go do all these other things that I need to do. Or I can take a little time and sit down at the table with the kids, and we can have cookies together, and I can look into their eyes and I can talk to them and say, hey, how was your day? And, what's important to you and what's going on? And it doesn't even have to be very long, but I think it's that attitude that goes with it of, I care about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the cookies aren't even homemade. I don't know.
Yeah.
Open the Oreos. That's
Oreos, exactly. We should be sponsored by Oreos. That's fun.
That's right. Okay, so let's move on to taste. Or not taste, touch.
Yeah.
What do we allow to touch our skin and the skin of our family members? Do we have clean sheets and towels? Do we have warm blankets, fluffy slippers? What do you want touching your skin? Would you like a clean carpet? Would you like a clean couch? It takes a little bit of work to do that, right? And but that's going to help a really nice environment in our homes, nice atmosphere. And then another aspect of touch we could say is the touch that I show kind. You know,
Like hugging
what's
as
that?
opposed to spanking.
Okay, exactly. Yeah. And, I think my kids had a different mom by child number 5 than I was at the beginning. And so I learned a few things with that. And I think I wish I had been more kind, but I'm grateful for the change by the time that things came along. And
I'm the same way.
our kids learn from us. Like,
Yes.
is it okay to hit? Well, if you're hitting, then I guess that's okay.
Right.
So we need to be careful of that. And then there's a poem that I really love by Shel Silverstein, and it's called Hug of War. Maybe you're familiar with it. Do you know that one?
Instead of tug of war, it's hug of war.
Yes, it's Hug of War. And it says, I will not play at tug of war. I'd rather play at hug of war, where everyone hugs instead of tugs, where everyone giggles and rolls on the rug, where everyone kisses and everyone grins and everyone cuddles and everyone wins.
I love that. That is better than tug of war.
It has a way with words. And I think that really captures this feeling that we want, positive touch in our homes.
Absolutely.
Lots of hugs, pats on the head, back scratches, bedtime, kisses, things that really are going to communicate to our families, like, you're the best. I am so glad that you're in our family.
And those are things that can be communicated through touch, and they're also verbalized. And so that brings in the sense of hearing. And what do our families hear? Yes. Do they hear that? I love you.
Exactly. Yeah. And so important to voice that, not just to say, oh, well, they know.
Right. Another element of hearing that I have to work on a lot is complaining. I feel like that sometimes that is my default, is to complain. And I have to be able to hear myself and realize, oh, whoa, wait a minute. And let's try to reframe and not get stuck in the negative.
I've done that as well. Or the criticizing, right? Like,
yes.
Who wants to listen to that all day?
Right. And instead choose to give compliments as much as possible.
Right. I know. I remember one day as my kids were going out the door for school or something, my neighbor had her child leaving the house, and she called out to him, love you, have a good day. And I thought, I'm totally going to do that. I love that. Like, it's like, and it became this reaction, like every time they leave, I want them to know, like, I absolutely love you. I'm so glad you're mine. And so, yeah, let's let our families know it.
Thank goodness for those good examples of the people around us that we can learn from, huh?
Yeah.
That's great. So, what are some of the ways that strong families prioritize their time with their families?
Okay, well, that's a good one. One of the things I thought of was something that our family did, and that was to have a weekly family night. And I don't know if everyone always looked forward to it, but I hope they did. I did. And at least looking back, I have fond memories. We would have a little time to share some values together, read our scriptures. We'd have, so a little lesson, and then we'd have games or an activity of some sort, and always have a treat, because that's just fun to do.
And that might be one of the selling points again, as trying to get those family members to look forward to it. You can say, and by the way, there will be a treat.
Exactly. Because, it's like that ends up being a time that the family can get together and say, this is our night, whether it's a weekday or a weekend, whatever works for your family. It's like, this is our special time together. We're just going to have a blast. And And then, I think that carries through the whole week. It's like, this is a beautiful place where we want to be. And along lines of that, it could be a weekly family planning meeting.
Yes.
I didn't feel like our family was super good at this because the idea came along a lot later than the weekly family night. But, it's a great idea to just get to calendar.
Yes.
And, let's get everybody's schedules coordinated, and let's find out what are your goals and what are your activities this week, and how can I support you, and how can I, help you with the things that you need to do, and how can you guys help mom and dad?
I like that you included the goals in that. Our family does have a planning session, a scheduling session, but at this point, we don't talk about the goals, but I like that idea. I think we'll incorporate that because that's beyond just okay, who's going to work at what time and who needs a ride where and things like that. It makes it more personal and interactive. So,
right. It kind of becomes like a team effort, right? Like we're all in this together and we're going to help each other out.
Yeah. Yeah. You briefly brought up the concept of reading scriptures together, and that might tie in with the spiritual preparedness that you brought up as one of your P's. And let's go ahead and let you tell us a little bit about that, and that'll be kind of our ending note here because, believe it or not, we're already close to the end of our time frame.
Sounds great.
But why would you say spiritual preparedness is part of building that loving ambiance in our homes, and what are some simple ways we can do that?
Well, there's a different feeling in homes where the families pray together, where they teach each other values, and where they practice living those values. And so simple ways that we can do that are praying together. I mean, that's such a basic thing, but I think it's great to have, we're praying to our Creator to, in gratitude for our children. I think they start to realize, wow, I must be special, Yeah. Mom keeps talking about me. She's really grateful for me. Hopefully they feel that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it totally sinks in the first 100 million times, but just keep going, and then to teach your values, decide what your standards are. Our family did that with scripture study every morning. And then, you could do it at the family night. You could do it at your dinner table, just a little time that you get together. Because honestly, if you're going to have respect and love and compassion, you're going to have to teach it.
Yeah.
And some of that is sitting down, maybe learning it from the scriptures, but some of it is we're working together. We're learning from each other and trying to live some of these things that we've learned.
Well, I love that. As we've been hearing all this good information from you, Annette, I want to encourage moms to write this down right now as these key points they stick out to you. Just write it down. That, you can grab a notebook, or better yet, use that smile journal that you can get from us digitally. It will guide you through making it into an action plan. And that's really, in order to remember what we learn and put it into practice so it can have impact in our lives, writing it down is like that first gear that then leads to the other movements and makes far-reaching positive changes in our lives. Oh, this half hour has gone by so fast, too fast. It's time to end our recording and start our live interaction with our viewers. If you've watched this as a recording, thank you for watching, but be sure to catch our live show every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time so you can participate in the second half hour where we continue the conversation directly with you, unrecorded. We want to include you in the discussion. That's how Win Win Women TV is unique. We care, we connect, we collaborate,